If you drive long enough at night, you start to notice things you don't during the day. The road feels wider, the darkness feels heavier, and silence stops being empty. It starts feeling observant. My name is Ethan Rowe, and this is the reason I no longer drive after midnight. I worked the late shift at a warehouse just outside the city. It wasn't a bad job, quiet, repetitive, and predictable. I stocked inventory, scanned barcodes, and listened to podcasts through one earbud while the other stayed alert for forklifts and supervisors. That Friday night felt normal. Too normal. My shift ended at 1:47 a.m., the same time it always did. I clocked out, grabbed my jacket, and walked across the empty parking lot toward my car. The air was cold enough to sting my nose, and the sky above was moonless, just a flat black ceiling dotted with faint stars. I remember thinking how quiet everything felt. No traffic, no distant sirens, not even wind, just silence. I got into my car, started the engine, and let the heater warm up before pulling out. My GPS automatically loaded my usual route home, 40 minutes down a 2-lane highway that cut through miles of undeveloped land. I had driven that road hundreds of times. That's why I didn't think twice when I turned onto it. The highway was nearly empty, just long stretches of asphalt illuminated by my headlights. Mile markers passed by at steady intervals, white numbers flashing briefly before disappearing into darkness behind me. I had the radio on low, some late-night talk show I wasn't really listening to. My mind wandered, half asleep but alert enough to drive. About 10 minutes in, I passed mile marker 142. I noticed it because that marker always had graffiti on the post. A crooked black symbol someone had spray painted years ago. A few minutes later, something felt off. I checked my speed. Normal. Checked my mirrors. Empty. Checked my GPS. Still showing forward movement. Then I saw it again. Mile marker 142. Same graffiti. Same chipped paint. Same slight bend in the post. My stomach tightened. I slowed down, scanning the road for turnoffs or loops, anything that could explain it. There were none, just straight road. I told myself I must have misread the number the first time. I turned the radio up slightly, trying to shake the unease. That's when the radio cut to static. Not the gradual kind. Not interference. It snapped, like someone had flipped a switch. White noise filled the car, loud and sharp. I reached to change the station. Before I could, a voice came through. Calm. Low. Too clear to be accidental. Don't stop the car. My hand froze midair. The voice sounded male, but emotionless. No urgency. No warmth. Just instruction. I laughed nervously, assuming it was part of some radio show or prank broadcast. I turned the radio off completely. Silence. I exhaled, shaking my head at myself, and focused back on the road. The radio turned itself back on. The same static. The same voice. You're not lost, Ethan. My heart dropped. I hadn't said my name out loud. The voice continued, quieter now. You're being measured. I slammed the radio off again, hard enough that my finger hurt. It stayed off this time. I pressed the accelerator. The road ahead felt longer than it should have. No curves, no exits, no oncoming headlights. Just an endless ribbon of asphalt stretching into darkness. After a few minutes, my headlights caught something ahead. A car. It was moving slowly in my lane. At first, I was relieved. Another driver meant normalcy, reality. Then I noticed something wrong. The car had no lights on, no headlights, no taillights, nothing. Just a dark silhouette reflecting my beams. I slowed down, keeping a safe distance. The closer I got, the stranger it looked. The windows were blacked out, darker than tint should allow. I tried flashing my headlights. No response. As I drew closer, my stomach twisted. The license plate was blank. Not dirty. Not damaged. Blank. Smooth metal where numbers should have been. Suddenly, the car slammed on its brakes. I swerved instinctively, tires screeching as I barely avoided rear-ending it. My car fishtailed before straightening out. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it over the engine. I glanced in the rearview mirror. The car was gone. No headlights behind me. No silhouette. No sound. Just empty road. My hands were shaking. I told myself it had turned off somehow, that I'd missed it in the panic. Then I passed mile marker 142 again. I felt something cold crawl up my spine. I checked my phone. No signal. The time read 1:47 a.m., the same time I had left work. I hadn't noticed before, but the sky looked wrong. The stars hadn't shifted. The darkness felt frozen. My phone buzzed. A text message. Unknown number. You failed the test. My throat went dry. Another message appeared. Turn around. I didn't respond. I couldn't. Instead, I pressed the gas pedal to the floor. The engine whined in protest as the speed climbed. The road blurred, mile markers whipping past too fast to read. Except one. 142. Again. I screamed. I don't remember deciding to do it, but I grabbed the steering wheel and yanked it hard to the right. The car spun. For a brief, terrifying moment, everything went weightless. Then, darkness. I woke up to the sound of my engine idling. I was parked, perfectly straight, on the shoulder of the highway. The road looked normal again. Curves, distant lights, a green exit sign up ahead. My GPS recalculated with a cheerful chime. Continue for 12 miles. The time read 1:48 a.m. I drove home in silence. When I pulled into my driveway, my hands were numb. I sat there for several minutes, afraid to turn the car off. Nothing happened. No voices. No messages. I went inside and didn't sleep. The next morning, I checked my car. The odometer showed 0 miles driven. I stared at it, tapping the dashboard like it might fix itself. Then I walked around to the back bumper. Scratched deep into the paint, too deep to be accidental, were 3 words. Next time, stop. I quit that job a week later. I take back roads now. I avoid highways at night. And I never ignore mile markers, especially 142. Because sometimes the road isn't taking you somewhere. Sometimes it's watching how far you'll go. There's a certain point during a late-night drive where your thoughts stop feeling like your own. The road gets quieter. The darkness presses closer. And every sound inside your car feels louder than it should. My name is Caleb Norton, and this is the reason I will never drive alone after midnight again. I used to work security for a closed shopping complex off Route 17. It wasn't dangerous, just long hours and boredom. Most nights nothing happened. Cameras stayed empty. Doors stayed locked. Time crawled. That night, my shift ended at 2:11 a.m. I remember the exact time because I checked my phone twice before leaving. I was exhausted, irritated, and ready to be home. I'd promised myself I'd grab fast food on the way, maybe reward myself for surviving another graveyard shift. The parking lot was empty when I walked to my car. No wind, no bugs, no distant highway noise. Just my footsteps echoing a little too loudly. I got in, locked the doors out of habit, and started the engine. The radio came on automatically, playing a low-energy song that felt wrong for how late it was. I turned it off. Silence felt safer. My GPS lit up and mapped my usual route. 35 minutes of highway, then 10 minutes of back roads through trees and farmland. I pulled out and started driving. The highway was dead. Not light traffic dead. Empty. No headlights behind me. No taillights ahead. Not even trucks. My headlights carved a narrow tunnel through the darkness, the white lines slipping past in a steady rhythm. Mile markers passed by one after another, each one briefly illuminated before vanishing. I was about 15 minutes in when I noticed something subtle but wrong. I felt late. Not tired. Not distracted. Late. Like I was behind schedule for something I didn't remember agreeing to. I shook it off and checked my phone. 2:26 a.m. Normal. That's when I noticed the first sign. Mile marker 88. It was tilted slightly, like it had been hit at some point. I remembered it because I always did. Something about it stuck out every night I passed. A few minutes later, my stomach dropped. I saw it again. Mile marker 88. Same tilt. Same chipped corner. Same crack running down the middle. My foot eased off the gas without me thinking about it. No, I muttered. That's not possible. I checked my GPS, still moving forward. No reroutes, no loops. I told myself highways have similar markers, that fatigue messes with perception. Then my headlights flickered. Once, twice. The dashboard dimmed for half a second. I gripped the steering wheel tighter. That's when the knocking started. At first it was faint. A soft tap, tap, tap. I thought it was something loose in the car, maybe the glove compartment or a water bottle shifting. Then it happened again. This time, from my back seat. I turned my head sharply. Nothing. The back seat was empty. No bags, no jacket, just dark fabric and shadows. My heart began to race. I faced forward again and froze. Written in the condensation on the inside of my windshield were words that hadn't been there seconds ago. Too slow. I slammed the brakes. The car screeched to a stop in the middle of the highway. I stared at the windshield, my breath shallow and panicked. The words slowly faded as the condensation disappeared. I screamed and hit the gas. The road ahead felt wrong now. Too straight. Too long. Like it wasn't meant to end. My radio turned on by itself. Not static. Breathing. Slow. Measured. Then a voice. Not coming from the speakers. Coming from inside the car. You were supposed to stop earlier. I felt something brush my ankle. I kicked my foot upward, nearly losing control of the car. My eyes darted down. A handprint appeared on my pant leg. Not wet. Not dirty. Pressed. Like something had tested the shape of my leg. I screamed and swerved, barely keeping the car straight. The voice continued, closer now. We gave you signs. The dashboard lights flickered again. The speedometer needle dropped to 0. The car was still moving. I looked up. There was another car ahead of me. Stopped. In the middle of the highway. Hazard lights blinking. Relief flooded my chest. Another person. A witness. I slowed and pulled in behind it. The hazards stopped blinking. The driver's door opened. A man stepped out. Tall. Still. Facing away from me. I rolled down my window halfway. Hey, I called. Are you okay? He didn't move. Your lights. He turned around. There was nothing above his neck. No blood. No wound. Just a clean, smooth edge where a face should have been. He took a step toward my car. I reversed instantly, heart exploding in my chest. The car behind me wasn't there anymore. The road behind me was gone. Just darkness. The man without a face raised his arm. The knocking started again. This time from inside my skull. I don't remember deciding to scream. I don't remember deciding to floor it. I only remember the road collapsing. The headlights went out. The engine died. And the world went silent. I woke up in my driveway. The engine was cold. The sky was gray with early morning light. My phone buzzed. 3:11 a.m. 1 hour had passed. I stumbled out of the car and collapsed onto the concrete, vomiting until my throat burned. When I finally looked at my car, I noticed something that made my blood turn to ice. Scratched into every door, every window, even the roof, with tally marks, hundreds of them. And on the hood, carved deeper than the rest, was a message. Next driver will be faster. I quit my job the same day. I sold the car a week later. The buyer called me once. He asked why the mileage reset itself every night. I blocked the number Because I know the truth now. The road isn't empty at night. It's waiting, and it hates being late.